So there's been this concept that I've been trying to work on while grappling, which is kind of just about like controlling your opponent. And I heard Donaher talking about, he was on this podcast with Faraz Sahabi, and he was talking about this concept. And I've noticed that a lot of the way that I've like desired shaping my grappling has been like noticing what like Donaher has been doing. I haven't watched any of his instructionals. I've just heard him talk a little bit, and I see his guys compete, and I'll hear Gordon talk about it a little bit. But the like, it's influenced me a lot, I think, with how I'm approaching grappling now. But he was talking about the old saying of like a lot of guys talk about having position over submission, like being in a dominant position, prioritizing that, and then the submissions come after that. And he had a great point. He's like, position is just like a subset of control, where if you can control someone the entire match, even without being in like those positions, and it's exciting. I've been trying to mess with it while I roll. I've been doing a lot of body lock passing, which I'm really liking that. I'm finally like getting little nuances down too. So I'm starting to be able to methodically kind of pass through someone's guard without having to like make any dynamic movements. And just taking that approach of controlling someone no matter what position I'm in, it's been helping me slow everything down. So it's like yesterday, some dude shot on me. I sprawl, I get to my front headlock, and then instead of like going to the next position right away, it's just like holding him there, not letting him do anything from that position, feeling out, and then kind of deciding, okay, this is what I'm going to do next, instead of just like going for something super quick, front headlock, go for something else, and like it creates almost all these scrambles where you're leaving all these openings for people to start countering what you're doing. And I also did something yesterday that I think I'm going to start doing more. I'll do an anaconda from the front headlock a lot, where I'll gable grip my hands right here, and then I gator roll them. And once I gator roll them, I'll throw my leg up over their arm that I have the gable grip on to prevent it from flaring. And I can get finishes sometimes with that. I find that I struggle, though, with guys that are really good at just, I don't know what they're exactly doing, but there's this mechanic where they're flaring out with their shoulder to where my bicep is cutting off this carotid, but I can't quite get their shoulder to smash into their neck because it's not like this. They're able to flare it out just enough. And I'll like burn my arms out trying to finish with guys that are very good at that mechanic. And yesterday, from the front headlock, I gator rolled, I went for the anaconda, it didn't work. I could feel this guy was just not letting me get that finishing mechanic right there. And I just like went up to mount, kept it tight, and then just like slowly slipped out of it. And in the past, I think I just overlooked going into mount. For some reason, I would just want to submit, obviously, I mean, for good reason. But yeah, I think like that, I was kind of thinking about how it kind of plays into that whole control scenario, where I have them in front headlock, I gator roll. If I can submit them, great, but if not, I just keep him on the back foot, and then I try to go for submission, doesn't work, I go to mount. It's really viable. Getting into mount there is super easy. And I think for a while, I've just been taking a step back from going for submissions as much, and I've just been focusing on like really controlling each position a lot more thoroughly, not giving them space and just trying to like crush them. But now I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to start exploring how to control them up to the point of submissions. Because there was this like analogy that I was kind of thinking of that I notice a lot of people do, including myself. I probably at like a lower level of grappling, which is like, say point A on the ladder is neutral, and point Z, or just any point A, point B, for instance, is B's submission. A is neutral. There's all these steps that you can take where you methodically set up the next step until you get the submission. And I think if you follow that rung of the ladder all the way up, that's like the epitome of completely controlling them. And I think a lot of what people tend to do, including myself, is we're passing this ladder, we're getting to a good position, and then we see that there's a submission, and instead of learning the very nuanced control mechanics of how to set up that submission and then finish it, we kind of jump up the ladder into the submission. So like you see an armbar and you just jump on it, which is good, you know, you develop the mechanics to do that, but you're just like jumping onto something instead of like slowly setting it up and just constricting them to the point where you have the armbar and they can't do anything, or you have the choke and they can't do anything. And so I'm going to start like trying to explore that. So like once I get to a position, figuring out how do I force them into being in a position where I can submit them without them having any space or options to escape. So I think I'm just going to have to kind of experiment and figure that out. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. I'm really liking wrestling. Jiu-jitsu's been going good. Muay Thai's been going good. I'm finally starting to feel more comfortable with like mechanics of kicking, only with my right kick. My left kick is probably still dog trash, but I figured I would just take it a step at a time, learn something. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to start trying to go to some MMA practice at least once a week, probably on Thursdays. I talked to the coach about it, and he said there's like tryouts for the team, and I think he's also going to talk to the wrestling coach. If the wrestling coach says I'm good to go, then I'm good to go, because I've been with the wrestling coach for a handful of months now. And yeah, I love it. It's really starting to turn into just like my complete focus in life is just training martial arts. It's so weird having started training jiu-jitsu a few years ago. Like I didn't really see this happening. I knew that I loved it, and that it was very fun. It's weird too because I became engulfed in it after doing the ayahuasca. Like once I got back to Vegas, that's when I was just like, I don't want to just train jiu-jitsu. I want to learn everything. And then as I was starting to do everything, I was like, I want to get really good at this. Like I've always wanted to get good at jiu-jitsu, but I want to get good at it because I love it and I'm going to do it. But also there's like something else. There's like this deep desire to just like make this my life. And it pretty much is right now. I mean, besides competing, like I'm training like how anyone that would be competing would be training. Considering I have a job, I think I do a good job of it too. And I've gotten my body to the place where I can train multiple times a day while even working. It all hinges on sleep. Sleep super important. Sleep, food. I definitely need to stretch more. That's probably something that I'm missing out on. But I do a good job of taking like hot baths and saunas and shit. And I think I'll probably move back to Flagstaff after this. I've told a few people in my life about it. I was in the sauna the other day, and I just had this sort of experience where I just had this thought pop into my head. I was like, that's what I want to do, you know? And it's as simple as that. I don't have any really good reason. I just don't really see myself staying in Vegas once my dad leaves. I don't want to go through the process of like finding a place, relying on my car. Flag is nice. It's a small town. My car breaks down. Doesn't matter. You know, I'm not financially bound to anything. And it would be nice to just like be with people, be with all my old friends. And it's peaceful too. That's the other thing that I think I'm looking forward to. Not that I don't mind how busy Vegas is, but I think there's something that's really good for your like health with being in a place that's a lot more calm, less shit going on. I'm excited to see where this MMA training takes me. I'm definitely going to try and like compete, and I'd like to make money doing it. I'm going to compete regardless, you know, like regardless of if I make money doing it. I'm going to be training like as much as I can and wanting to get good at it. So I think why not just try and like take it as far as I can? You know, I think that'd be awesome. I have a ton of time too. I'm so young. I'm only 23. I have years to get good at this sport. As long as I don't get like really, really injured, I think I'll be good. So that's it. I just kind of felt like talking about that.